Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, we'll be learning certain details about what dual aspect means, how is it related to accountancy, and what definition it has when it comes to recording transactions into accounting books of records. So when we talk about dual aspects, we basically talk about how accounting transaction has two effects. That means every transaction has a debit effect and a credit effect for its recording. So when we talk about debit effect and credit effect, debit effect if being on the A side, credit effect will be on the B side. That means on the opposite side. So every transaction has an equal and opposite reaction to it. Now when we talk about equal and opposite reaction, that means if one account is getting debited, the other account will be getting credited with the same amount. So whenever we have a dual aspect thing to be mentioned, we always talk about double entry bookkeeping system because that's the basis of it. That's the basis why a double entry bookkeeping system is in existence in the first place. It is because of the dual aspect that we follow. So let's understand certain lines that has been mentioned here for your reference, and you'll get to know or have more clarity on this. Now, dual aspect system is the foundation or the basic principle why accountancy is in its place in the first thing. So the basis of the principle or the foundation of accountancy has been laid down by this specific aspect. That means double entry bookkeeping system has this special effect of both recording the transactions on the debit side as well as on the credit side, the reason being of the dual aspect part of it. So when we talk about dual aspect system, we basically talk about any transaction being recorded first in the debit side and then in the credit side, and vice versa, however the account's demand may be. So the foundation of dual entry bookkeeping system or the double entry bookkeeping system has been derived from the dual aspect part itself. Let's understand next few lines that have been mentioned here for your reference. Now this specific concept gives you the very basis of how the transactions are supposed to be recorded into the financial books of accounts. So any financial book of account that you have, the transaction that are supposed to be recorded are supposed to be recorded in a dual aspect manner. So when you talk about double entry bookkeeping system, dual aspect or the dual aspect concept has to be followed in all the cases, because if you don't, then it becomes a single entry bookkeeping system which is completely incomplete record. So to have a complete record and the receipts of all the transactions, you need to have both debit and credit to be recorded into the transaction. So this is the very basis foundation of how accounting transactions are shown in the financial books of accounts and how clear and complete they are when it comes to showing reports to the users, both internal and external. Let's figure out what more details we have for you. It also takes into picture that every account has or every transaction has two effects. One on either of the accounts and the second one being on the second account. So if you have two accounts into the question of any transaction, that means you're following dual aspect concept, and with every such dual aspect concept you further go ahead and understand how these dual aspect concepts have been a part of these details. So when you talk about dual aspect, you basically talk about what has been a part of this, how it has been supposed to be, or how it is supposed to be derived at any point of time. So any dual aspect that you have to discuss with, or to have any kind of short note to be written or any brief explanation to be given on, you need to understand how dual aspect is related to double entry bookkeeping system, because with the same thing you will be able to consider or move forward with the details in dual aspect system. Let's understand few more details on this and we'll be able to have more clarity on this part in the next sheet. Now, as per the dual aspect system, it states that the transaction should be recorded at two places. That means two accounts being affected with each of their sides being a part of this specific transaction. For example, plant purchased or plant and machinery purchased. That means you're getting an asset and giving out cash. Hence, debit what comes in, plant account or machinery account is debited to cash account, being cash being given out or being paid out from your bank account. So plant account or plant and machinery account debited to cash account is the entry that you will be passing. Here plant and machinery account will have a debit balance and cash or bank account will have a credit balance. The reason being, both these things or both these transactions are affected due to one specific journal entry. Now when both these accounts are affected due to these specific transactions or journal entry, you further record both these transactions, because that will have an equality here when you keep or double entry bookkeeping system is supposed to be mentioned. So when every time any double entry bookkeeping system is supposed to be mentioned, you need to have transactions which are affecting two accounts, and that's when you'll have a double entry bookkeeping system with dual aspects. So this is how you actually form, or you actually understand how the transaction is supposed to be recorded. Let's understand the last part that has been mentioned here for your reference. Now this concept is the sole reason why the accounting equation assets equals to liability plus capital, or assets equals to liability plus owner equity or owner capital, is a part of it. Now when we talk about asset equals to liability, if at all single entry bookkeeping system was mentioned, this equation wouldn't have been possible. The reason why we have all the records being mentioned in the transactions, and these transactions been recorded further into the ledger and trial balances, that's the reason we have complete details of all the accounts being affected due to any specific transaction. At any given point of time, if you have any transaction that is affecting the reasons or the different accounts that are a part of the transaction, and if you miss out any of these transactions, then in such cases you won't be able to justify this equation, which is asset equals to liabilities plus capital. Hence you need to have all these details for yourself, and both these dual aspect concepts should be followed along with the double entry bookkeeping system, which will give you accurate details about how many effects or how many effects can be seen in terms of the accounts that are related to the transaction, and what is the actual effect on it, or what is the actual effect of that specific transaction on every account that is being a part of that transaction. So this is how dual aspect concept works, and this is how dual aspect concept is closely related to double entry bookkeeping system. So this is what we had to discuss about when it comes to dual aspect. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and keep subscribing to Ekeeda.